Good evening. My name is Julie Coriel. I'm honored to be included in this gathering and to participate with Leslie in what we imagined would be a pilgrimage to Oak Ridge. For not being able to come in person, I'm exceedingly grateful to Ray Smith, Carla Mullins, and Emily Honeycutt for making this video possible, and to you in the audience for accommodating this expanded technical and geographic means of meeting. When I first met Leslie Shover in the midst of writing her novel, she awakened two themes. One, the interplay of history and creative imagination in storytelling, and two, deeper curiosity about our mothers. Mine a poet, hers a pianist. From toddlerhood in Oak Ridge, I believed chemistry was a language spoken in doorways. I was jealous of the Fission daughters. In our time, Leslie and I are both human Fission daughters of fathers who worked first at the Met Lab at the University of Chicago, and then in the fission products lab of the graphite nuclear reactor X-10 in Oak Ridge. As for understanding my mother, it's like studying and underpainting, pentimento, in contrast to the more public life of my father. I'm the only child of Charles Dubois and Grace Mary Seeley Coriel, and half-sister, now deceased, to Charles, first daughter from first marriage. I'm a classic Chinese language major and a student of earth sciences, peasant knowledge, applied in the best periods of fertility in agriculture in the contemporary Chinese regional studies program. I was co-founder of Women's Studies at the University of Washington, and I'm a proud partner with my geophysicist spouse, Seeley Martin, in a two-person, single-paycheck career common to clergy, diplomats, and professors. His research has been in sea and glacial ice, remote sensing of Earth, and climate change. Joan Bainbridge Safford interviewed Charles in the summer of 1960 for the Columbia University Oral History Research Center. I edited the recorded sessions as a chemist's role in the birth of atomic energy in time for the 2012 American Chemical Society Nuclear Division Centennial Symposium, honoring Glenn Seaborg and Charles Coriel as co-founders of the field of radiochemistry. When I met Joan in person in 2011, we both said to each other how glad we are that our fathers devoted themselves to political advocacy for civilian control and peaceful uses of atomic energy. Her father, Kenneth T. Bainbridge, is famous for designing, at Oppenheimer's request, the test site for the Trinity bomb blast. He arranged the triggering, and it was nothing like the fiction drama portrayed in the movie Oppenheimer, where an actor playing him lies on the ground with a finger on a red button. With many others, post-war, they founded the Federation of Atomic Scientists. Regarding security, the pre-Army rules intensified in Oak Ridge. You were supposed to tell a man only what he needed to know to do a job. You were supposed to tell a man all he needed to know to do a job. I consistently interpreted the second as more overriding the first, as long as you trusted a man enough to hire him. You give the young men responsibility and incentive, and there's just no limit. The situation put so many demands on people that chemists that I hired that I thought would be middle road chemists developed sparks of leadership. If they didn't have imagination, They developed solidity and the like, and their relative position in chemistry was greatly elevated in this atmosphere. Grace Mary and I never talked about atomic energy. She knew I got into trouble from time to time at the lab. She exaggerated the dangers and never thought that if one were kicked off the project for righteous reasons, that one could be proud of it. Charles and his boys in the lab worked at a wartime intense pace, having to learn as they go. Compartmentalization, not Quaker democracy, characterized home life, however. I believe the tension of not being able to talk affected my parents' relationship long term. Frustrations with the Army loomed, delays in building and finishing the house built, but shipment of furniture from Chicago could not occur until floors were finished, a wait of at least 6 weeks. Mud. Charles described mud mixed with gravel, hard as rock when dry, sticky enough to suck your shoes off your feet when wet, near impossible to garden. Though close neighbors did garden and kept white Peter Rabbit. They had 4 children, and their mother developed cancer. The children gave me Peter by stuffing him in our mailbox, but my mother kindly pried him free and returned him to support the children. At 9 months, I ate mud, ingesting Acarus lumbricoides roundworm eggs. My bed linens, clothing, stuffed animals, all had to be burned. Treated with gentian violet, my mouth turned blue and caused purple vomits. My gremlin doll came after the purge. Note, its name is a 1941 coined term for an error or equipment malfunction conceived of as a small, mischievous gnome. Childcare. Childcare was complicated. My parents were able to hire an affectionate African-American nanny, Willie Mae. She left her own 3 children at home in Knoxville and commuted to Oak Ridge by bus. In 2002, when I accompanied our college student daughter Maria to her second trip to Bamako, Mali, when she was discerning her career as an expeditionary artist, I remembered Willie Mae holding me in her ample brown arms, her lilting Tennessee speech, and the rich red soil of Mali's capital, so like Oak Ridge. One of the older scientists, Milton Burton, moved to Oak Ridge with his 8-month-old son, Jamie. Milton's spouse, Jamie's mother, had just died of breast cancer. As his Japanese-American caregiver was not allowed to live in Oak Ridge, Grace Mary assumed frequent care of the 2 of us. Jamie suffered propulsive vomiting. She and Willie Mae often fed us in the shower, where spitted pablum would clog the window screen. My parents took few opportunities for recreation. In a time of rationing, Charles often lent their car to others to get away. These habits, born in wartime, persisted in their marriage. In the winter of my newborn weeks, Grace Mary called for a delivery of coal. She was told, "Ma'am, please call back in the morning. I cannot write a message." Late for a safety meeting, Charles tried a shortcut by the colored entrance. The guard drew his gun to block him. The older one gets, the more one is asked for one's birth date. I was a breech birth, and Grace Mary surprised her attendant, stating that she wanted another child. Despite his elation, Charles did not agree. Though the hospital was under construction, my Christmas Eve birth was joyful. Carolers sang, "Hark the herald angels sing," to Grace Mary, and she was relieved. I was not born a werewolf at the stroke of midnight. I've always been glad that the celebration of Jesus' birth comes the next day. interesting to see the picture from the Oak Ridger of, I think this was the surgical room, probably not the delivery room, but who knows. The major outcome of the research element that the men in my father's group were able to do was the discovery of promethium, the element 61. Actually, the element 61 came long before the name. Here's a picture of my father with Larry Glendenin and Jack Marinsky. He always gave the younger men credit, younger by about 5 years, but they went to my mother and asked for her, being a poet, that would she suggest a name. Grace Mary, not having had a chance to go to college, said, I got a D in high school chemistry, refresh my memory, what's an element? They said, irreducible matter. She said, I think you're like Prometheus. You've stolen fire from the gods, and mankind may suffer for it. Too long after the war ended, Anthony Turkovich, physicist from New York, the Met Lab in Los Alamos, sent my parents a print from the only color picture taken of the Trinity bomb firing, 16 July 1945, with a personal note on the back. Jack Abey had obtained 35 millimeter color movie film from Hollywood and had adapted a camera to make stills and received permission to expose the film. Grace Mary placed the photo on her mantle and wrote her poem, A Picture, in 1945. Here are some excerpts. On my mantle is a picture of the atomic bomb, taken in the first second after the first explosion. I don't quite know where to put it, though it's been there nearly a year. It attracts the attention of everyone who comes into my house. The coming of the atomic bomb to the world has shattered all thoughts and ideas of the past. And I don't know where to put it. Neither do the Army and the Navy or the UN or the Russians. Please consult my website if you'd like to hear the complete poem, www.juliecoriel.com. And it's the Post, CDC, the book and the movie, minute 30. Post-war, Grace Mary's life took place with more social isolation than Oak Ridge. She gave up driving. She maintained extensive correspondence, but home life was shadowed by Charles' long hours. In his first year as full professor at MIT, he gave 65 public service talks on atomic energy. A great cook, she entertained with verve, serving stretchable chicken centipede, wings and drumsticks, and broiled lobsters. They played songs of physicist Art Roberts and some Appalachian singer I've not been able to place. He sang, atomic power, 'twas made by the almighty hand of God. If any of you know the source of that ditty, I'd be grateful to learn it. A frequent topic of after-dinner conversation was the question, suppose the Russians targeted the cement marker of the Trinity test site at Alamogordo, but injured no persons. How would we respond? Our home was filled with foreign visitors, and we traveled, but tensions grew as Charles brought home PM whiskey, and Grace Mary drank pre-dinner Manhattans. As Sir James Chadwick told Richard Rhodes, after I first understood fission, I never had another night's sleep unassisted by medication. As Mary Bunting identified in her presidency of Radcliffe College, there was a pervasive lack of expectation for women. She never argued for change of roles between men and women, but that women can have it all, just not all at once. For me, despite the early death of Grace Mary 6 weeks before our wedding, her prophetic vision in naming Prometheum consoles and challenges. I think it was a saving grace that after spending the first 10 months or so at Oak Ridge, Post Ridge, to see that his lab folks were settled, Charles returned to academic life. I think it gave him a better balance of research and teaching. At the recommendation of Richard Feynman's family, I too applied and received compensation from the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Program for Charles' rare bone cancer and early death. A source of pain to my mother and a lesser extent to me was that Charles believed and said, science comes first. It was honest, but for my mother's not being able to go to college in walking distance of her home, it was more hurtful. For me, I grew into my own path through Chinese and women's studies, with my father in atomic chemistry and my spouse in earth sciences and climate change. The Chinese ideogram, pictured here, inspired my logo for Prometheum Press. Between the hinges of a gate, an open human mouth calls, signifying to ask, question, query, the momentum of discovery. But I believe Charles had good reason for this conviction. I dedicated the book to those who explain science well and to scientific method. It offers humankind a lingua franca and a hope for understanding and cooperation. As Charles often quoted, the motto for Caltech, his alma mater, "The truth shall set you free." Again, my heartfelt thanks to Leslie, to Ray Smith, and to Keith McDaniel, to Carla Mullins and Emily Honeycutt for this gracious invitation to revisit my Oak Ridge memories and legacy. Thank you.